Wisconsin's tough-talking governor, Scott Walker. He fought the unions in his state. He won. He faced a recall election. He won that one, too. Now he's written a book on his battle. It's called Unintimidated, a governor's story and a nation's challenge. He's gearing up for a new fight, this time over state income taxes. I had a chance to talk to the governor about it earlier this morning. Here's what he had to say.
I made a pledge when I first ran for governor almost 4 years ago that we'd cut taxes every year I was in office. We've done that. About $1.5 billion worth of tax relief already. Property taxes are down 3 consecutive years. Income taxes are down. Taxes on our employers are down. We want to continue to do that, but it's not just about cutting taxes. It's about reforming taxes in a way that will have the biggest bang on the state's economy, putting more people to work. And so part of what I'm looking at is the best way to do that going ahead into my next budget a year from now. And I look at states across the country and realize the states that have little or no income taxes, state income taxes, are the states that are at the top of the list when it comes to jobs.
Sure.
We want to find a way to create a foundation for doing that right here in the state of Wisconsin so we can put more people to work.
Is that the plan then, that your strategy is to go after income taxes at the state level and get them down? You think that's the best bang for the buck?
Well, we've already cut through the budget 6 months ago. We cut income taxes across the board at all rates, reduced the number of brackets. But we think going even further than that can have a very positive impact on the state's economy. Look at just the last 3 years, Wisconsin versus Illinois. In our case, we've lowered the tax burden by about $1.5 billion. And yet, at the end of last year, we actually saw that tax revenue collections were actually up over 8% from the previous year. Why? Because as the economy improves, as more people go to work, as you see personal income going up, as many of those people not only are going to work, they're making more money than they did in the past because of the improvements in the economy. We've seen tax revenues go up, even though tax collections, I should say, go up, even though the tax rates have gone down. Contrast that with my neighbor to the south, where 3 years ago, almost at that time, they raised taxes 67% on individuals, 46% on businesses. And yet they still have budget problems in that state. Our budget continues to have a surplus, and we continue to plow that back into tax relief. It is a sharp contrast between two very different points of view, much as I'm sure you're starting to see even in New York City.
Yes. I want to deal with New York in a second, but what you've just described, sir, sounds to me like Reaganomics. Would you suggest this as a template for Republicans on the national level?
Absolutely. I think of my friend Art Laffer, who was one of those early advisors to then Governor and now, or then later President Reagan, and now an icon in American history. The Laffer curve was that sweet spot in which, as you lower the tax burden, particularly when you think back to August of 1981 when President Reagan signed the Economic Recovery Act and slashed the marginal tax rates, that put more money back in the hands of everyday Americans, and in turn, they stimulated the economy through greater purchases, through creating new businesses, through putting more people to work. We've seen just a small glimpse of that in our state in Wisconsin. And we want to look forward and say it's not enough just to cut taxes. We need to do so in an aggressive way that looks at either eliminating or taking a major portion of that burden off the table. And if you do that, what we found from employers in our state and we found from consumers is they put that money right back into the economy.
Now, that's the exact opposite of what's happening right now in New York City. The new mayor of the city, Bill de Blasio, plans to tax the rich, raise taxes on rich people, and spend more government money. Is it possible that we're seeing an election shape up in 2014 and 2016 in which there are polar opposites, raising taxes, populism from the left, cutting taxes, economic growth from the right? If that's the case, where do you stand in that debate? Are you leading that debate?
Well, clearly we're going to stand with the hardworking taxpayers in our state and across the country. In the end, I think most people understand that there's a clear choice. Who should control the decisions in your life? Should it be you and your family? Should it be a small business owner? Should it be a family? Should it be a senior citizen? Should it be individual Americans out there? Or should it be the mighty hand of the government? And I think most Americans, certainly in my state, most Wisconsin citizens believe that they're the ones who would make a better decision about how to spend their money. And in doing so, as we continue to provide tax reform and tax relief, we're going to see our economy grow and And the more bold we are, the more aggressive we are, we're going to see even bigger improvements in the future.
Governor, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you're going to be set up for demagoguery. You are going to be demagogued to death. I know you've been demagogued to death already, and the title of your book is Unintimidated. I got that. But you've got to be ready to be really hit hard by the left, which will say you are mean, you are heartless, you're leaving people behind. The income inequality gap is growing, and you're part of it. They'll demagogue you to death, sir.
Yeah, but you know what? We can fight back with that same level of populist reform. We can fight back with a message that says we're the ones about fairness. Fairness isn't about trying to bring people down. Fairness is about trying to bring people up. Fairness is about giving everyone a chance for freedom and prosperity. The freedom and prosperity that our founders dreamed of when they put this country together, and that we try to live for every day with the American dream, is one in which we try to lift people up. We're not about picking winners and losers. We're about moving this country and ultimately each of our states forward in a way that doesn't leave anyone behind. And that's not about bringing people down. Too many of the folks on the left want to bring people down. We want to bring everyone up, and the best way to do that is to empower everyday Americans to control their own lives, their own destiny, their own futures, and by putting more money back in their hands to ultimately stimulate the economy. That's the best way to do that. They're the best deciders of that, not the government.
Governor Scott Walker, Republican, Wisconsin. Thanks very much for joining us, sir, on Varney and Company. We appreciate it.
Great to be with you.
All right, good.